I had a cousin, this is a true story. I had a cousin about 10 years older than me, maybe 15 years older than me. He was in the Vietnam War and he did basic training, and I think they got to come back for something. So him and two other Lakota guys from the same area, they came back and they were all getting drunk at the bar, and they lived in the town which is a good 60 miles away, and they were drinking until the bar closed, and then they got some more beer, and then they proceeded to drive back, which is probably not a good idea. Everybody's drunk. Common sense just vanishes. So anyway, this was during the summertime, and they were driving back, and they got maybe about halfway to their home, and suddenly they saw a light behind them. So they stopped because they thought maybe it's a cop or something, and the light came close, and then it went out into the field really fast. It just went to the side, just really fast out in the field. And it went up in the air, then it came back down again, and then it came towards them. So they got scared. Yeah, they started to drive really fast, and then next thing you know, this thing is chasing them. It can't be a cop car because a cop car can't go up in the sky. So it scared the heck out of them. It must have scared the drunkenness out or something. I don't know. But by the time they made it back, they were all shaking, and one of them was crying because they don't know what exactly they saw. Was this a ghost? What was this? Nobody really knows what it was. So everybody was talking about it. But you know how things are. When people talk, people add things to it too. So it probably 90% of the story is probably not even true. But the fact is, they saw something, and this thing went in the sky and came back down again. They don't know what it is, but it scared the hell out of them. They never saw anything like that, and people on the res, they live out in the country, yeah, and sometimes things happen out there, and science does not know everything. There are things out there that only come out at night. Who knows what this is? But the fact is, they saw something, and it bothered them. They couldn't go to sleep for a real long time because when they fall asleep, they see this thing again. They start getting nightmares. This is the very traditional area of the reservation, the west side. And so they had a medicine man come and do a ceremony for them. And then maybe several days later, they went off to war. Well, they went to different areas. They all went to Vietnam, of course, but they were not in the same company. And two of them died. They were killed over there. And the third one, who's my cousin, got a bunch of little pieces of shrapnel all over his abdomen. He had no stomach. Just think about that. He came back from Vietnam. He's 18 years old. And he didn't live too long. Well, he kind of did, but he didn't live a normal life, yeah, because he has no stomach. And it wasn't just his stomach. There were other things wrong, too. So he stayed in the Veterans Hospital most of his life. Nothing could be done, and he died. And everybody is very traditional thinking in that community. And everybody wonders about that light. That was this something that was trying to stop them? Was this something that was trying to stop them from going to Vietnam? Because, see, in Lakota beliefs, there are stories that talk about the time period in the beginning of this earth where we have an organization called Wakantanka. And this organization, in the beginning, there were 4, and then there were 8. Now there's 16 in this first organization, and there's more than one organization with the same name. There's several organizations, and the reason why is because they do things differently. Each organization does things differently, but the goal is the same. They have the same goal, they just go out and accomplish it in a different way. So the Wakantanka, the first one that was existing, there was a time period where they were creating things. And these are sacred things. And some of them are in the air, some of them are in the fire, some of them are in the water, and some of them are in the ground. Now, these are sacred things. I'm not talking about bears and birds and fish. No, 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 no. I'm talking about something sacred. So, in one of these groups of creations, there's a certain species that time and space appears differently to them. And so for them, when they look around, they can see things like they know what's going to happen. Let's say you're walking on the sidewalk and then you see a ladybug going across the sidewalk. And this ladybug is going to go, let's say you're on a busy street. And let's say the ladybug is going to head towards that street. And so you know that most likely this ladybug is going to get run over by a car or something. Or somebody else is going to step on it. You know that because you can see. Yeah, you can see ahead of where this ladybug is going. Now, try to warn that ladybug without touching it. Because if you touch it, maybe you press too hard and you injure it. So you have no way to pick up this ladybug. There's no way you can touch it, okay? All you have is your voice. Maybe you don't even have that. Okay? Let's just say there's no way for you to pick this ladybug up and put it to safety, okay? So now, let's say you're trying to warn that ladybug. You're talking. Hey, ladybug, turn around. You're going to get run over. Do you think the ladybug understands you? Because to the ladybug, you probably sound like this. You see what I mean? and of course, ladybug don't speak English. Okay, so that's another problem too. So how do you warn this ladybug without picking it up? See, you can see where the ladybug is going. You can see that most likely the car is going to smash the ladybug. Some car or something is going to smash it. You see that. It's going to die or get injured really bad. You see that. But how do you stop it? How do you warn it? Now can you see this a little bit better? So now imagine some kind of being that cannot touch us, that cannot speak our language, and that this being is trying to warn us not to do something. That this being is trying to say, you're going to die if you go. Don't go. Don't go, it's saying. But you don't hear it. And it's doing anything to get your attention. So now look at this situation again, this story. Whatever this thing was that these guys saw, there is a possibility that this was something that was trying to stop them from going to Vietnam, because it knew that these three or two of them were going to die, and the other one was going to get injured really, really, really bad. This thing knew that because it can see. It has that perspective, just like we had that perspective of this ladybug trying to cross the street, and she doesn't know that there's a bunch of cars coming because maybe she doesn't register the vibrations or something like that. That's how we are the ladybug, and these things are trying to warn us. Don't do that. Don't go there. Something really bad's going to happen. See what I mean? It's scary. But is it really? When it was all it's trying to do is stop you? See what I mean? So sometimes there's a way that they can find some kind of a way to contact. They might give us clues, but a lot of times circumstances match from different situations. So when we see these clues, we might put them together and come up with a conclusion, but it's possible that the conclusion could still be a mistake. Let me do another analogy. Just imagine you have a jigsaw puzzle, those 1,000-piece kind. Jeez, who does that, yeah? Okay, I don't mean to make fun of all of you that do that, okay? Oh, shoot. Shows you my attention span. Oh, man. Anyway, let's say you have 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, but the problem is you have 3 puzzles thrown in together, all mixed up in one. Those are your clues. What you don't know is that it's 3 puzzles. You just see all these pieces, and you're not sure if there's 1,000 there or what. I mean, you're going to take everyone out and say 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? Do you know if it's really 1,000 or not? How do you know? Unless you're Rain Man or something like that. Yeah? Let's just say you come upon this big box and it's got a bunch of puzzle pieces in there. So you're assuming it's one puzzle. You make that assumption because you've always seen puzzles in one box. So that's one puzzle. That's what you're used to. But does that mean it's always going to be that way? Some joker might come in and put several other pieces in there to throw you off. So you start assembling this thing and you're finding out, hey, wait a minute, this is something goofy is not right about this puzzle, yeah? So you see what I mean? So you might have clues or what you think are clues, and then you put them together and you come up with a conclusion, but the conclusion could be false because you're looking at 3 different puzzles, but you think it's one. So it's giving you a false idea. You see what I mean? So the trick is to separate it, to realize, oh, yeah, there's more than one puzzle here, and to figure it out, and then put the 3 together. Then you realize, but the chances of somebody doing that is very slim. So this is why when people see things like this, they try to find the definition to it or the meaning of it, and they might come close, but they might get it wrong. And this being is not trying to confuse you. This being is trying to help you. It's trying to help you in any way that it can. So it's trying to give you clues. It's trying to give you hints. It's taking words, trying to use the correct word, and by the time it communicates it to you, it might come out strange. But it's trying. Yeah? Maybe you're hearing every other word. Do you see what I mean? So it's trying to help, but it's having a difficulty in doing that. At the same time, we don't know that. At the same time, we think what we're hearing is a complete sentence. So we're thinking, oh, okay, these words we got, yeah? I bedroom jumped cheeseburger. Okay, what does that mean? So we start jumbling those around, trying to make a sentence from that. And we're going off. Yeah, we're going off the path by doing that. There's words missing. I was eating a cheeseburger and jumping on my bed, and then I fell off. That's the message. But look at all the words that had to be added to that. You see what I mean? So it's hard, yeah? It's not impossible, but it is hard. So when we look at the story that I'm telling you about my cousin and his friends, that they saw something, and there's a possibility it saw what was going to happen to these three. So it's a possibility that this thing was trying to stop them, that it was trying to do something so that they wouldn't go. It was trying to save their lives, is what it was trying to do. That is a possibility. I'm not saying that's the truth, but I'm saying that is an option that is very, very plausible in the Lakota way. So after my cousin came back with basically no abdomen, everybody was thinking about this light that they saw. And most Native people are Christian influenced. That's just the way it is today. And so most Lakota people were saying that this is probably a bad sign, that this was an evil spirit, because right away they assume that it's evil, because that's how most Indians are today. They see things in good versus evil, and that's not the ancient way. So this was an event that was really hard to understand because the people were dualistic. That means they only see things in two possibilities, this or that. And the ancient Lakota way is not like that. In the ancient Lakota way, there's at least three perspectives, and it's not about good versus evil. There's no good versus evil. It doesn't exist. That's what man creates to control that which he does not understand, which includes women. And I'm not joking. That's why they invent their religions, to control women, because they're afraid of the passion of women. Anyway, this was really hard for a lot of the people in the family to try to understand. What did these boys see in the sky? What was that? Because their tendency is that this was a bad luck sign, that this was a evil thing. But in the ancient way, that don't exist. In the ancient way, this would be seen as a warning, and a warning is something that wants you to live. Why else would you get a warning? If it didn't want you to live, it wouldn't even do anything. But the fact that you got a warning, that means something out there is trying to protect you. In the Lakota way, everything is nature-based, because that's what we are. The important thing is communication with each other, peace in our lives, and handling incoming communication and so forth. That's all based on nature. In that, there's no good versus evil. But something happened to Indians at the beginning of the reservation time period. That's late 1800s, in which Indians started to transform into Christian people. And so once that transformation happened, along with the boarding school experience, where children were taken hundreds of miles away from their homes, they were kept away from their families, they were told their families were dead, things like that. Because of those experiences, today Indians do not think like the ancestors anymore. So when this thing happened to my cousin, see, the way they interpret it is through Christian perspective. So they started saying this was a bad thing, that this was an evil thing, that this is coming from the devil. And that's why this happened. That's their interpretation. But the ancient way to look at it is that it's not a bad thing. Yeah? But it's different. So that's why we call it wakha. It's not normal. Something was trying to stop them. Because if they didn't stop, they would die for sure. And sure enough, it happens. It could see what's going to happen next to them. Because like I said, with these creatures, time and space is different than it is for us. They are totally non-linear. Totally. So they can see what happened in the past. They can see that now. They can also see the future, or what could happen, what most likely is going to happen. They can see that. But they also see it changing. So, in the ancient Lakota way, this most likely was not a bad thing that happened. It was trying to stop them. It wanted them to live.
To read more about Lakota Star Knowledge spirituality, you can read my book called Wichocha Otechike. You can see the book cover on the right side of this screen. This book contains the information to what I talk about on my Lakota spirituality videos. To purchase this book, please click below where it says Show More. Clicking on that link will open up the description below, and there you will see a link called To Purchase My Books. As you will see, it's an eBay link. Click on that eBay link, and there you will see the information to get this book. To learn more about speaking the Lakota language, you can read my book called Chante Etaha Ooglake, Speaking from the Heart. You can see the book cover on the right side of this screen. This book contains the information to what I talk about on my Lakota language mini lesson videos. To purchase this book, please click below where it says Show More. Clicking that link will open up the description below, and there you will see a link called To Purchase My Books. As you will see, it's an eBay link. Click on that eBay link, and there you will see the information to get this book. Lila Pilamayelo. Thank you very much.